story here on the front page. We will unpack this one in a couple seconds. Trouble in schools, as again it's revealed that new data showing a spike in classroom violence and student suspensions. So that and so much more later on. Ian Wason for the morning shot. You're in the right place at the right time. It is your morning brew on this Thursday morning. See you soon. Yes, running in, legs and the ankle feeling much better today, Trinidad and Tobago. You see, you just need to get moving, you know, get the body moving. Was in some pain yesterday from the football sweat from Tuesday. And yesterday I kind of just got a chance to walk it out and roll it out, and I'm in a much better place this morning. And I guess I've said all that to remind myself and to those looking on, whether you're young at heart, it's important to keep moving, even if it's a little walk around the area, your neighborhood. For those who like to cycle, for those who go take a swim, let's, in 2026, keep moving. All right, if you don't use it, well, no, if you don't use it, they say you're going to lose it, huh? Yeah, that's the saying. So, feel really good this morning. I feel energized and pumped. Let's get the ball rolling on this Thursday morning, Thursday, the 5th of March, 2026. The Trinidad and Tobago Guardian, the front page, as mentioned, trouble in schools. Now, I thought with the officers being deployed, there would be a shift. There would be a whole different movement and momentum. But clearly it seems when some of these youngsters, and listen, I've been there, right? Can't act like if we didn't go to school and we didn't go through some of the issues and perils and the challenges, and some of us would have, many looking on, I'm sure they could recall flying off the handle. So these things happen, you know. Remember, young students still developing, but unfortunately, it's still one of those scenarios where, you know, you're getting the school fights and you're seeing the stats there. After school suspensions, well, I mean, this is old footage, huh? There's not anything recent, but we're seeing lunchtime suspensions, a 15% decline. You know, so the stats are coming in. And there would have been some improvement, but still there is work to be done. And it seems like, you know, some of the fights now happening in the classroom itself, and I guess, you know, the education minister and others trying to really arrest and treat with this particular situation. And you have to remember too, the young people now, unlike when we were going to school, some of the challenges they face, it's even more, and especially with the social media conversation and the kind of talk that's being thrown and the kind of embarrassment and the kind of put up and the loose talk that takes place within that space, that puts a next layer. So we as parents, the godparents, the uncles, the aunties looking on, the grandparents, there needs to be a hands-on approach. Let's be open, let's be transparent, let's talk to our charges, talk to them, and just try our very best to level with them and understand what they're going through is a little bit different to what we had to endure when we went and we were part of the school system. Still got lots of faith with the youngsters. I think that once there's intervention, there is that hands-on approach. There are many students who can make the 180. There are many of my friends I recall certainly would have been, when you talk about challenged during, or they would have challenged authority during the school, well, when I was there at school, certain guys, I wouldn't call them no names, but there really was, I want to tell you, a dark road, a different direction. And if you see these men today, one is a pastor, could you believe? The other one, you know, artist, a really amazing, creative. Another one is a announcer, a big established announcer and host, and a man in the entertainment space. And these men, when I tell you, at school, you could not have seen that particular trajectory. The way they were going and the influence, and it's so many different moving parts. That will cause a child to rebel and to act out in such a way. So it can, yes, sometimes the iron approach, the iron fist, the hard approach could work. It could be the first intervention, but after that, there needs to be that real sit down and working it out and try to get to the root cause. And sometimes the root cause is very severe. Certain things happening at home, the environment some of these children come from. It's a lot of moving parts. So I believe in the future, the young people, and I think that right here on the show, right here in the Morning Brew, especially on a Friday when sometimes we have the Poets Corner and other interviews, we see the flip side of this bad behavior that is sometimes highlighted. We see really amazing students who are bright, just brilliant in their own way, understanding themselves and on the way to success. So let's not feel that all the students is this sort of Tegareg behavior, fighting and kicking face. No, that's not the case. It's a few. Obviously, they make the news, but I believe there is limitless potential and lots of hope with the generation to come. That might be, it might be wishful thinking, it might be me being, very optimistic, but we have to think that way and project that way, because if that's not the case, where we going? And we too, as adults, have said it time and time again, we need to set the example and pass the baton to the next generation in a place where we give them an advantage. We can't drop the baton or don't even hand them the baton at all. So, very important development. You can read more about it inside the Trinidad and Tobago Guardian. Another interesting story on page 5. The Superior Deputy Mayor kicked out of council meeting. Apparently the meeting got so hot. The meeting got so tense that the UNC councillor was kicked out of the chamber during a heated meeting. And that story here on page 5, if indeed it's right under the story with the schools. So if you want to read about it, it's right here inside the Guardian. Let's head to the back page. Well, when we consider sports and what's happening, it's unfortunate, but the TNT under 20 team, we lost to Costa Rica in that crucial World Cup group qualifier. And we still want to wish the boys the very best. Of course, I would have mentioned this yesterday. The Massey Secondary Schools Track and Field Championships at the Hazel Crawford Stadium, well attended in terms of the athletes, but as you can see behind, blue seats. Now, let's be real. I always believe I must take the advice I give. Clearly, yesterday I put aside a couple minutes well inside the monologue to speak of the lack of support when we see our young athletes. I don't know if probably putting this track and field meet probably a little bit later in the day, probably late afternoon into evening, probably into nighttime. I don't know if that might give a incentive for more people to come out, because it's really a challenge to sit down in that hot sun, middle of the day. Most parents and well-wishers will go obviously in the covered stands. You won't put yourself through that penance to really sit down in the blazing sun. So there are certain factors that will lead to a lack of support. But ultimately we need to market, we need to really put the information out there in a really attractive way to gain and get that kind of momentum so that people could see the future of track and field. And again, I want to thank Massey for coming on board as a corporate sponsor to ensure that there is at least that support for the youngsters. But still the turnout leaves much to be desired, and I always compare our track and field schools meet, secondary schools meet, to what I see in Jamaica with their champs. Massive turnout, they hold it on a weekend. They do some of these races in the night, so you see a packed office there in Kingston, their national stadium. And not even as far as Jamaica, way up north. We're looking at a country, our neighbor, 30 minutes away, Grenada, right there in St. George's in the capital, in their stadium, when they do their track and field meet. And interestingly, they call their track and field meet Intercul. We call our football Intercul. Grenada, Grenadians from far and wide, they come out to see the youngsters run. So far too long, we love to celebrate the glory of our track and field athletes when they go out there and they do well on the world stage. But not many of us are really there to see their story, where it all started from the very inception, when the star just had that flicker And we were there to tell them, hey, press on. So, I don't know. It's a bigger conversation. I guess Ian Wason could treat with that during his segment. If not today, I'll probably remind him if he could really dedicate some time to how we could get more people into the stadium if there's a consideration for shifting the time and shifting the day for the secondary schools, Massey Secondary Schools track and field meet. Let's head to the brief on your Thursday the 5th. And what we're seeing in the brief here, nursing is not just a job, it's a calling. And I agree. I'll even put that to teaching and even being a police. Those are not really jobs, you know. Yes, you go and it's a job and you get your pay and whatever, but that's a scenario where it's really supposed to be a calling. You're dealing with human lives, you're dealing with shaping minds, well, in the case of the teachers, and you're dealing with people's security and people's vulnerability as a TTPS officer. You know, people sometimes get into an emotional place when they confront the police, but as it pertains to nursing, who are dealing with life, death, taking care of people when they're at their lowest, yeah, that's a calling. And for those who would have been in the system on a bed having to get better, they know the ones who do it from the heart and do it out of love, and they know those who just not nice at all. And to bounce up a nurse that's not nice and roughing you up, it's one of the worst things. And I hope it's less than more. The nurses I know, on a personal note, I know they're very dedicated to their craft, and they go out there and give of their very best, even though when they're on the ward, they're short staffed and sometimes the supplies are low and they have to talk to other departments within the hospital to get. Did he talk about it? There's have to be literally, you know, working it out on their own to get just the basics. And in that regard, tomorrow, they'll have their protest in San Fernando, so we stand by to see what's happening there. Another story making the brief, I'm seeing Ria, I'm seeing Akash, all right, all part of the GML team. They went down to the Waterloo Secondary Schools. Big day, they had a career day, that's right. Rambley and Samaru encouraged students to dream big, aim high, and begin stamping their journey towards success. One ambition at a time. So that's nice that Ria, Akash took time out of the schedule to treat with the students in real time, and it's something we do all the time here at GML. And anytime schools bring the career day, I myself, I'll always put aside time to go speak, inspire the next generation. I think that's very important. And it goes back to what we said at the start. We can't give up hope. We have to ensure that, you know, we are the example. We show them a particular blueprint to success, give them encouragement, go there in real time and tell them we got you, and give them the baton in a place where they could take it to the next level. It's as simple as that. Let's get ready for the Business Guardian. It's up next. Anthony Wilson joins me to break down this story and more. Well, analysts on PM's meeting with Trump give us performance. Let's elaborate on what this development on Saturday could bring for Trinidad and Tobago. Anthony Wilson up next.
At Cruise Inn Hotel and Yachting Center, we're all about time. In fact, once you check in, there's no time to lose. Reconnect with a little family time. Make a splash with some pool time. Spend some treasured quality time. Or just immerse yourself in some quiet time. Indulge your senses at dinner time. We even have the perfect venue when it's your celebration time. So it's high time you visit Cruise Inn. Choose our day pass or call 607-4000 to make your dinner or hotel reservations or to find out more about our event spaces. Take a time out at Cruise Inn Hotel and Yachting Center.
My man, Andre.
Good night, Anthony.
7 years with the company, and we couldn't do it without Antoine.
Happy birthday, dear Alejandro. Happy birthday to you.
Who's Angelo? We're like coworkers who don't forget your name.
I'm Angelo.
CG United. Good like that.
This is more than just music. This is where you find the best of TNT.
This is
more than just a vibe. This is where Bollywood gets a twist. This is more than just energy. This is Bhangra and indie pop too. This is the mix. This is the life. Lock on or log on now. Sangeet 106.1 FM. This is authentic East Indian radio. This is us.
Anthony Wilson joins me for the Business Guardian breakdown. My colleague is on the Zoom line. Anthony, always a joy to see you, my friend. I look forward to big developments. Good morning. Business Guardian. Hey, good morning to you, Anthony. And I want to start off with the cover story, and then I'll transition to your story. And it speaks to what the analysts are suggesting, the recommendations being put to the Prime Minister when she meets with the U.S. President this weekend. From all indication, that meeting is still on, despite when the meeting was called, there was no war in the Middle East. But we'll get to that. We'll get to that very soon. Analysts are saying that she must bring up the conversation of jobs, forex, and energy. What's the takeaway from this story on page 5, Anthony?
But I think this is a story in which the takeaway is really in the headline. The analysts that Raphael John Lal spoke to say that this meeting that Prime Minister Prasad Bisasa and Guyanese President Irfan Ali are going to have with President Trump, and I would imagine others, in President Trump's resort in Doral, Florida. It has to be, in terms of the Trinidad and Tobago takeaway, it has to be focused on deliverables in the refinery, the developments with regard to the Dragon gas field, security, jobs, foreign exchange. So the analysts want concrete deliverables and not just a photo op to say that she went to meet with President Trump.
Well, of course, and that story is on page 5. As I move to your story, and you're asking a very important question, as one many in the maxis, taxis, by the water coolers in the workplace, they've been asking this question since the release last week. Now, the release came out and then they pull it back, but nonetheless, in this day and age, once you release something, it's out there. And you're asking, did TNT need to support U.S. attacks on Iran? And many from overseas, far removed. Up to last night, I'm talking to a man from Orlando who looks at the program, and he's asking, well, how we as Trinidad and Tobago put our mouth in how we insert
big people business.
Yeah, how we insert ourselves in that conversation. So, I mean, what a question, Anthony, and what a timely question.
Yeah. As you said, this is a issue that is being discussed far and wide, and as you said as well, it seems that the preponderance of opinion is that this is an issue that Trinidad and Tobago could have allowed to pass without making any comments. I think that's the long and short of it. Why they made a comment, why they came out in support of the United States when no other country in the Caribbean has done that, and few countries in the hemisphere have come out in support of the United States attack on Iran. United States in alliance with Israel. So, you know, it's a little strange, and it's yet to be explained, I think.
To me, the bigger question would have been, how do we get our nationals who want to leave the region back to the shores? Because we have so many Trinis working in Bahrain, in Oman, in Kuwait, people in the energy sector, hospitality, aviation. I could call on about 4 Trinis I know working out there. One in Qatar, right in Doha. I went to his residence. The next one in Bahrain. He's into solar panels. A friend of mine whose husband is into aviation. I mean, that to me would have been the bigger conversation now because people want to leave the region.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. It's always surprising when we do these kinds of stories to find out how many Trinidadians and Tobagonians are living in places in peril. And you're right, the focus now should be if people want to leave the region, they should be facilitated in getting out. There's no two ways about that.
You think this could have any kind of backlash? This support now, granted, it was out, the release went out, and as we know, as soon as it went out, they pulled it back, right? I'm sure, based on advice, I don't know what caused the pullback, as it were, but clearly the support would have been established. And we know, obviously, well, with Venezuela too, that support was there. We were part of that. But in a nutshell, in the seconds that remain, could you see any backlash with this? A yes or no?
I hope there is no backlash. I hope that there are no consequences to this statement.
All right.
Yeah.
Oh, Anthony.
I wouldn't want to go much further than that.
Well, all right, of course.
I'm sure you understand.
Yeah, of course, and I do appreciate. Anthony, all the best. Thanks for touching base, and yet again, congrats on a great installment of the Business Guardian this week.
Thank you, Jason.
You're welcome. Anthony Wilson there with us. As mentioned, former Government Minister Vasan Bharat joins me. He's on the Zoom line next to treat with the SOE and the impact on, I would say, again, trade and investment. Vasan Bharat, next.
Your one-stop, most convenient, most helpful, most caring community pharmacy. Our pharmaceutical services include dispensing medicines, repeat dispensing, clinical governance, but we also have a fully stocked convenience store featuring our refreshment aisle, grocery lane, personal care products, toys, pet supplies. We are most conveniently located out of the traffic, just 2 minutes off the highway in Heartland Plaza, in Devashagonas. Contact us on 220-8705 or 470-5938 and visit us soon.
From the producers of Ridiculous 6.5 and 7 Year Itch comes a brand new ridiculously funny comedy.
Two Fat Fellas. Friday 6th, Saturday 7th, and Sunday 8th of March. Queen's Hall. 3 nights only.
Two Fat Fellas stars Cecilia, Penny, Kevon, Zachary, Raisha, and Rhodey.
Tickets available at Dorman Shoe Store along Circular Mall, K-Square Stores, Eastgate Mall, Redwood Plaza, Beachology, Mokurapo Road.
Queen's Hall box office opens on the 23rd of February.
And islandetickets.com. For more info on 683-4843.
Two Fat Fellas. Queen's Hall. 3 nights only. Two Fat Fellas.
This season, Ask the Doctor is at a new time. It's your weekly prescription for trusted medical advice. In the Doctor's Capsule, Dr. Tilak Singh breaks down big health topics clearly and simply. Get a dose of smiles in the Kiddies Capsule as our youngest experts share health tips with heart. Explore the science behind the headlines in Medical Minds, featuring real doctors, real insight, and your questions matter. Join the open forum live and get answers straight from the source. Ask the Doctor, every Thursday at 8 p.m. only on CNC3.
Tune in to Betterments with host Bass, Monday through Thursday, 12 p.m. to 3 p.m. for a program that educates and is solution-based. Bass tackles the issues that matter to you, providing a platform to speak your mind and find solutions. That's Betterments with Bass, with a focus on education and resolution. This is all about making things better for you. So if you want to make a difference and have your voice heard, tune into Freedom 106.5 FM and join us for Betterments with Bass, Monday through Thursday from 12 p.m. to 3 p.m. Better for you. Only on Freedom 106.5 FM, where we believe that your voice matters.
The former government minister, Vasan Barrett, joins me on the Zoom line. Always a joy to touch base and to see you, Mr. Barrett. We had I saw you for a brief moment, Carnival Tuesday. We didn't get a chance to really touch base, but I know we've got to do that this morning. Great as always to have you on the show. Welcome.
My pleasure, Jason. Thanks for having me.
Of course. Well, we find ourselves in another state of emergency, and up to yesterday when I saw the Trinidad and Tobago Guardian, I recognized your commentary went against the tide, while many were in support and suggesting that, this is the best option at this point in time based on the uptick and what we would have seen with criminal gangs in the last couple of days. You went, as I mentioned, in a whole different direction. What's your overwhelming analysis of this recent state of emergency? If you could break it down for us to understand.
Well, first of all, Jason, let's understand what a state of emergency is. A state of emergency is declared where, according to Section 8 of the Constitution, where an action has been taken or there's an immediate threat by any person of such a nature and so extensive a scale that it endangers public safety. And by its very nature, it's an emergency power. My issue has been that it's been 10 months since government has been in office, of which 7 months the country has been under a state of emergency. So a state of emergency threatens to almost become a crime plan. And really and truly, what the government is indicating is that all of the instruments of government have now failed. Whether it's intelligence, policing, prevention, prosecution, they've all now failed, and we are now in an ongoing state of emergency. And that's the issue because, of course, as you'd appreciate, a state of emergency has consequences. Now, the point of the article that I wrote was this: we have to hold our politicians and our leaders to account. And that's something we don't do very well in Trinidad and Tobago because of our tribal support on either side. So whatever our side does could never be wrong. And so therefore you'll see that views on a state of emergency or the views on anything that the government does would be divided almost down the middle between the two factions. My job, as I see it, is to hold governments to account. And you will know, Jason, I held the previous government to account, the PNM. I held them to account for their handling of crime, their handling of the economy. And I don't think it should be any different because I happen to be a member of the United National Congress that I ought not to hold this government to account. And let me just, for the sake of the record, and I have it here, the words of Mrs. Bissessa, and it shows you the hypocrisy of our leaders and how easy it is for us as a population to just accept these things. In 2024, and I'm going to read verbatim here. In 2024, Mrs. Bissessa, when the then PNM government declared a state of emergency, she said, "This government has no real plan to tackle crime. This state of emergency is a shameless political gimmick, a band-aid solution that does nothing to address the root causes of crime. A United National Congress government has a comprehensive, actionable plan to combat crime." And therein lies my problem, because 10 months later, where are the actionable, and I use those words deliberately, where are the actionable plans that Mrs. Bissessa spoke about? Now,
in all fairness, Mr. Barrett, in all fairness, I'll say and I understand where you're coming from because, as you would have established, being a patriot, you really hold every administration to account to bring what's best for Trinidad and Tobago. So on the same page, we are definitely there. But in all fairness, we are not part of the National Security Council, and I'm sure the Prime Minister did not have that particular audience when she was in opposition. So going to your first point of threats to national security, we don't know. Remember, the AG said there would have been threats coming from within the jails to certain key and high-profile folks. They didn't go into detail, but they might know something that we don't know. Hence, I figure they would have called this state of emergency. I'm just trying to,
And my response to that, Jason, is that this is not something new. threats against the security forces, gang violence, those are the two bases on which the state of emergency has been granted, are nothing new. They've happened in the past on several occasions. And the now government has been in opposition, was in opposition for 10 years. So therefore, they should have been preparing for all of these eventualities. You cannot say that gang violence or threats of reprisals or threats against the security forces are something that has just happened today. It has been going on for a decade. And so this is my point exactly. The UNC has been in opposition for 10 long years. One would have expected that they would have been prepared after 10 years in opposition. They would have had new legislation to bring to Parliament. They would have had consultations with security experts worldwide. They would have had draft legislation to bring to Parliament. But instead, they seem that they're stunned with the reality of what has confronted them after 10 months in government. And I'll tell you that some people may be looking at this naively and saying, well, look, they would have been there for a year. But this is akin to this. I'll give you an example of what this is similar to. This is like an acting CEO of a large organization who's been waiting in the wings for 10 years to become chief executive officer. He's been employed, he has been interviewed by the board of directors, which is in this case, or under shareholders, which in this case is the people of this country, and he's been given the job based on the promises and commitments and the supposed skill set he has to deal with the issues in the organization. And a year later, or 10 months later, into the new job, his only response is that the previous CEO is to blame. And we are in this position because of the previous CEO, who has been fired by the board. Now, that would not be acceptable to either the board of directors or to the shareholders of the company. And similarly, it should not be acceptable to the population that after being in office for 10 long years, after auditioning before the country, after promising the country that you had all of the plans to resolve the problems, 10 months later, you are still resorting to emergency powers. And that essentially has told me that this is a confession of failure, that the government does not know what to do. All of the instruments of governance have now failed, and we are now in a perpetual emergency, state of emergency situation. And there's nothing to prevent it from being declared 6 months from now and 3 months again, and we're in it for the next 5 years.
Let me take the conversation to something I know that's very close to your heart, and that's investment, and that's trade and business. What does this state of emergency bring to that conversation? Does it bring down investor confidence? Does it give a sense of security and lift it up? Where is this state of emergency as it relates to investment, trade, investor confidence?
So first of all, let us look at the civil liberties that has a knock-on effect on investments, okay? The civil liberties that are taken away. A lot of people in their naivety will say to you, well, unless you're a criminal, you have nothing to worry about. I see that all the time in responses to my commentary that, you have nothing to worry about if you're innocent. Well, nothing could be further from the truth, because the state of emergency, according to Section 8 of the Constitution, gives wide sweeping powers to both the executive and to the police. And in an era where there is a little trust in the police, and we have to be honest about that, it exacerbates the situation. So for example, you can be arrested you can be arrested without a warrant. And unfortunately, we've seen that has resulted in the profiling of a lot of young men in marginalized communities over the years. You remember under the state of emergency in 2012, 13, I can't remember what year it was, some 8,000 young men from marginalized constituencies were arrested. So you could be arrested. You could be detained without immediate charge. There's a suspension of bail. Police can come into your home without a warrant. They can seize your assets and they can seize your property. There is a restriction on public meetings, on public gatherings, on protests, on religious gatherings. And of course now, added to all of that, an individual can be held liable if he or she, orally or otherwise apparently, utters anything that is prejudicial to public safety. So it could be deemed that what I'm saying to you this morning is prejudicial to public safety, and I could be arrested. So there are certain civil liberties that we're being asked to trade in return for security when there is no valid evidence to indicate that these security measures have worked in the past. So coming back to the question you asked, all of those things send a level of uncertainty to the investing community. So let's take tourism as an example. All right, we've been attempting for many years to encourage tourism. Are you as a tourist going to go to a country that is under a state of emergency? Let's be honest. You're going to think twice, right? Particularly one that has been on a continuous state of emergency. That's going to tell you, that's going to send signals to you that it's probably not safe for me to take my wife and my children to this country. So that's the first thing. The tourist arrivals and the uncertainty in their minds. You also have an uncertainty from a level of uncertainty from the people who are involved in the industry, because hoteliers are unable to plan properly, taxi drivers, promoters, because if they don't know what the time horizon is for these states of emergency, then they're unable to plan appropriately. As a direct result, there's going to be an uncertainty with regard to their levels of investment in that particular sector, whether it's investment in plant and equipment, whether it's investment in human capital in terms of employing more people. Everything just is on hold until there's a level of certainty as to what's happening.
Yeah.
The same thing happens for foreign direct investors. A foreign direct investor looking at Trinidad as a possible investment destination that is under a constant state of emergency is unaware from wherever he or she may be as to the actual state of affairs in the country, as to the socio-economic aspects and fallout of a state of emergency. They don't know if on a whim or whether or not just around the corner is coming a curfew, whether there's going to be a complete shutdown of the country. So it would not be wise for a foreign direct investor to look at Trinidad and Tobago at a time when we need foreign exchange, at a time when we need to develop our non-energy sector, to look at Trinidad and Tobago favorably. And similarly with local investors, a local investor who may be looking to expand his continued operation because he may be looking at export market, or to expand into a new range of products that may be favored outside of Trinidad and Tobago for where there is a market, may now think twice, because he doesn't know whether or not he's going to have to close his doors at 6 o'clock. He doesn't know whether or not he's going to be able to put on a night shift, whether people are going to be able to come out to work because of a state of emergency. So there's this constant uncertainty that shrouds the business environment that creates a further problem. The other issue, of course, is that rating agencies, looking at the possibility of socioeconomic problems, could possibly downgrade us as a direct result, which makes, of course, borrowing far more expensive.
Well, Mr. Barrett, I'll tell you, lots to unpack. I want to thank you, as always, for the time. Let's keep the conversation going. I find it's been too many months between our last conversation, so hopefully we'll get a chance to touch base again very soon. All the best to you and the family, and thanks, as always, for the time.
Well, my pleasure, Jason. Thanks for having me.
For sure. Vasan Barrett there with us, former minister, very critical of what's happening with the state of emergency, but we will get a chance to understand the do's and don'ts, as it were, a deeper conversation with this said state of emergency next with Officer Russell, who steps in for the police and youth segment. See you soon.
This March the 11th and the 12th, the Trinidad and Tobago Chamber of Industry and Commerce presents Catalyst SME Conference 2026, where potential becomes performance for SMEs. Over 2 days, gain practical tools to access finance, conduct market research, and position your business for real growth. And on Saturday the 14th, meet real buyers through curated B2B meetings and dynamic pop-up shops, designed to turn strategy into opportunity. 3 days, real strategy, real connections, real opportunity. Register now. Step into ABC Doors and Windows, where quality meets variety. Discover premium wooden, steel panel, fiberglass, and steel security doors alongside aluminum, UPVC, and steel windows designed for strength and durability. At ABC, we're always a better choice, delivering products built to last and service you can rely on. Visit our showroom at 1 Chanka Trace, El Socorro South, or call 638-7184 to make your dream home a reality.
Introducing the new Sun Mix Nut Bar. Available in 3 delicious flavors: granola raisin nut, almond cranberry crunch, and coconut almond crisp. All packed on a rich bed of dark chocolate.
Taste the good life, snack right. Taste the good life anytime. The good life. Sun Mix.
Sunshine Snacks Sun Mix Nut Bar. Taste the good life.
Our connection is reliable, credible, and authentic. Thank you for trusting me to bring you the news. It's a privilege to be in your homes and hearts. With every story and every newscast, CNC3 is keeping you informed and inspired. When it comes to news, we are where you are.
I'm being sued for negligence.
Maggie needs her father. Can't fix what's already done, Frank. It's been too long.
You and Sully, have you had a chance to talk things out yet?
Didn't think he cared.
He was heartbroken when you left.
Life's not exactly perfect at the moment.
If you spend your time trying to control everything, you won't get a chance to see where life wants to take you. You know I'm here for you, right?
Officer Russell is here with me on set. We want to thank him for the time. I know it's a real labor of love and a commitment to be here every single Thursday to treat with the major issues of the day. And today we have a couple of stories to treat with, and I want to start things off. Well, firstly, of course, good morning to you, officer, before we even, respect and manners first.
Well, good morning, Mr. Williams, and good morning, Trinidad and Tobago, on behalf of the Commissioner, Deputy Commissioners, Assistant Commissioners, and First and Second Division Officers of the esteemed Trinidad and Tobago Police Service.
That's right. Before we get advice on the SOE, I want to treat with the front page. Trouble in schools. What's this particular development as it pertains to students and deviant behavior?
Well, I think what they would have observed is that not the presence of the police officers in the schools has contributed to a reduction in the school fights and stuff like that. But what they are seeing now is the disrespect within the classroom towards the teachers and stuff like that. That is what is really taking place now. Now remember, 2 to 3 officers are assigned to a particular school. They may not necessarily and will not be in the classroom and cannot be in every location of the school at the same time. So I think that is when the students take the opportunities to act out now. It means you may now have to probably do some more patrols or assign officers to blocks, but the resources of the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service are not infinite. We cannot be everywhere at the same time, even though we are on the school compound. There are different wings and stuff like that. So what I want to do is advise the parents to speak to their children as to their code and conduct. We want to move from where we suspending children and stuff like that, because suspending them means that they are home and they may not really have any other activity to engage in, and they may find themselves in even more trouble because their parents may have gone to work, they are unsupervised, etc. So, that is where we are at. But we have seen a reduction in the school fights and stuff like that.
So it's a work in progress, and it's a call ready for the parents to treat with the charges and ensure that because I mean, listen, the disrespect in classrooms is not something recent. I've seen that even when I was going to school, but it was less than
more. Definitely.
Yeah, we have to make sure we give that full respect to our teachers who give of their time and energy and service every single day.
Because even suspensions has declined by 25%, so it means that there is some level of improvement. I would say a significant level of improvement of behavior.
And indeed, we are thankful. I want to treat with the state of emergency. I'm seeing 18 arrested thus far, 10 charged on day one. So obviously the officers back on the grind. You know, I've never put forward the question to you.
The officers never stopped from being on the grind.
Well, the thing is, I know, yes. I mean, yes, we have seen them patrolling, but I guess with this state of emergency, there is that heightened incentive. What's the working relationship like with yourself and members of the regiment, the defense force? Because I know sometimes they're joint patrols during a state of emergency. What's that dynamic like?
I would tell you something, notwithstanding that we are governed by different acts, we work more or less seamlessly with the regiment. They have been working with us since, I could say, more than 25 years. I have approaching 29 years service, and since my enlistment into Trinidad and Tobago Police Service, we have always worked alongside the regiment and other apparatus of the Ministry of National Security. Because not just the regiment, but it's the defense force. Because sometimes they may send Coast Guard officers to accompany us on the patrol.
What do you want to say this morning to alleviate fears during this state of emergency? Because, you know, there are lots of people talking, and there's this perception that, you know, there might be some advantage and intimidation taking place, and, you know, a lot of people's rights are suspended, and there's a sense of people going about their daily lives because part of the state of emergency potency is kind of lost, to be quite honest. But for those who might be end up in the crossfire, or the crosshairs, as it were, crossfire might not be the best word. What's your word of advice there?
First of all, I wouldn't want to say potency has been lost. What I want to say is that we would have seen the results, and I hear the public, and I understand that state of emergency cannot be a crime plan. I hear them, and I understand that. We have other things. And I've been in a nice meeting with the commissioner earlier this week, you know, where all the division commanders and heads of division, sections, branches were there, and there's a lot of initiatives to come that would make Trinidad and Tobago a safer place, but it's a work in progress. We need the resources, etc. What I want to say is that we always see a reduction in everything, in all serious crimes, including murders, when there's a state of emergency. What I want to tell the public is that once you're not involved in anything illegal, you have nothing to fear. The state of emergency is more or less intelligence-led, and it is targeted towards a certain fraction, a certain group, a certain team, for want of a better word, or gangs. That is what is the main thing. The gun violence, the robberies, all those things are things that are synonymous and intertwined with gang violence and gang activities. So we are asking for the public, first of all, to pray for us. Cover us as we go there on various different exercises. Have patience with us, because at some point in time, you yourself may be inconvenienced by a roadblock or something. You know, sometimes we say, you know, why are they doing a roadblock at this hour? But every time you look at a video, the guns are moving in what? Cars. Whether it's daytime, nighttime, morning, or evening. So what we're asking for is the cooperation. You know, there are exercises taking place, leave home a little earlier, so you don't find yourself speeding, you know, obey the traffic laws at the same time, look out for pedestrians. And let me just say something too as well. You know, pedestrians have to understand that, notwithstanding that they are using the road, that their drivers using the road as well, and they both owe each other a duty of care. So for instance, you cannot just be on your cell phone and just walk off the pavement and then you get into an accident, someone strikes you with their vehicles. That is called contributory negligence. So we want the public to really pay attention, not only to that, to the public service vehicles. When dropping persons off, we want to let you know that please drop them after you would have crossed the crosswalk. Because sometimes you drop them before the zebra crossing, and then they pass in front of the maxi. So the vehicle coming down is not aware that somebody is going to appear from in front of the maxi. You know, so it's just little things. We ask that you be careful, you be vigilant, pay attention.
Of course, and I want you to expand on some of the road behavior, because I mean obviously that's a very important conversation. But before we go there, could we confirm that indeed we will be getting more roadblocks? You will see officers on the road, the four corners of Trinidad and Tobago on the beat?
Definitely.
Okay.
And there's more than just roadblocks. There'll be roadblocks, there'll be intelligence-led exercises, there'll be house searches, there'll be business searches. Once you are involved in anything illegal, we have the information, we are coming.
All right. Well, we got that piece of information there. In the time that remains, obviously we're looking at road behavior. And yet again, I sometimes wonder where we go in. We're on an island and we see some antics out here. And you know what I've noticed? I don't know if people are unaware, if they're probably listening to music loud in the car. I've seen where ambulance or a service vehicle, the siren is on, they're trying to move and people not moving. I don't know at what point that started to become a norm.
I think a lot of persons take it for granted. Because the driver of the vehicle would not really come out and issue a ticket in the case of a police vehicle, and because it's an emergency they're going to. In the case of an ambulance, they don't have a power to give you a ticket or anything. So I think a lot of persons take it for granted that they're not going to anything, they're going to buy doubles, or there's nobody inside there. But the day that it is your relative or your family inside there, you may have a different perspective. In addition to which, sometimes I see situations where somebody might have a new car. And like, for instance, let me say we're coming on Rising Road. You know how Rising Road is, especially if rain falls, if it's raining and there are floods. You tend to find, you'd see persons wouldn't want to move aside because nobody not putting their car on the pavement or on the culvert to allow the emergency vehicle to pass. So you have these little issues as well.
Yeah, because obviously I've seen Highway Patrol. I know they obviously try their very best, but and there's a question I put to Officer Batson, and I want to put to you also. Sometimes you see somebody doing the most, and you wonder why it is the officer who's positioned there won't just put on his siren and run them down. It's like, I seen what going on, you clearly see what going on. Where is the impetus to say, you know what, boy, let's nip this in the bud? Because there are people who, especially on that highway to south, the reckless way in which they maneuver could endanger someone's life. And I wonder sometimes why officer just won't put on his siren and run them down and stop them right there and then.
Sometimes we do call ahead to the next vehicle. Let me say by the time we really catch up on the vehicle, or the vehicle passes, you realize that vehicle really driving reckless and stuff like that. Now, if somebody see, and this is where the eyes of the public come in, because I want to throw the challenge back out to the public as well. This is where the eyes and ears of the public come in. If you are driving down the road and you are seeing that vehicle, you can call 999 and say, hey, there's a white vehicle, PDD 8888888, driving reckless, is a green, whatever kind of vehicle. And you give us the information. That vehicle down there in that position at the stationary monitoring could now set up the proper roadblock to intercept that vehicle. When we put on siren to run on that person, we also create a further dangerous situation as well. And we would have to abide by the law, whereas that person, let's say in the case of a getaway car, and I'm not saying we wouldn't give chase if you have further information. But let's say it is in the case of a getaway vehicle or somebody stole a vehicle and trying to evade. They are not following the rules. So it would be better for us to call ahead or call the station in your station and say there's a vehicle coming in your direction, set up a roadblock, set up something,
Yeah, well said. Any closing remarks as we wrap things up today?
Well, Trinidad and Tobago, we are indeed approaching the weekend. You all know we are in a state of emergency. We ask that you comply. We ask that you familiarize with yourself with the contents therein of the new emergency powers regulations. Be safe, be vigilant, love each other, care for each other, and just really try to help us. Trinidad and Tobago is not mine, it's not yours, it's ours.
ESP Russell touching base with us with the police and you. We take a pause, get ready for the 7 a.m. news update, and we come back with more after 7.
over Trinidad and Tobago. Anil wrapping roti at lightning fast speed.
Sandra nailing every order in her hardware.
Lisa, who is in sync with style. There is no buffering at her boutique.
And Dr. Alex filling prescriptions with care. They're all part of the 5,000 strong businesses connected and growing with reliable, high-speed service from Amplia.
Now it's your turn.
Because with Amplia,
you're in good company. Amplia Business.
Gaming Express Limited is a premium importer and retailer of the highest quality brand name electronics. We stock the widest range of PlayStation, Nintendo Switch, Samsung, and Apple devices and accessories. Visit us at Shop 52, Level 2, Gulf City Mall in San Fernando, or contact us by phone or WhatsApp message at 687-7480 or 301-9797 or 798-1280. Like our Facebook and Instagram pages for updates on products and services.
You can make your goals unfold, go get it. You can live your dream, join the team, let's do this. You can get the help you need to succeed with Rand Credit Union. You can believe that you can achieve big goals, small ones too. Rand Credit Union, we've got you. No more waiting, that won't do. Make someday today. One life, so make it good. Live the way you know you should. With Rand Credit Union, yes you could. Make someday today.
Live your best life today with Rand Credit Union.
Make sure you have yourself a great investment week by viewing The Boss Report every Monday morning at 6:15 a.m. during CNC3's The Morning Brew. You'll get sound financial advice, whether you're a new or experienced investor, when you view The Boss Report. CNC3, covering your world.
A very good morning, I'm Akash Samaru with headline news on CNC3 and the TBC radio network. The Sipara Borough Corporation erupted in chaos on Wednesday, ending with Deputy Mayor Shankar Tilak Singh being escorted out of a public health committee meeting by police. It followed a heated exchange with the chairman. The incident stemmed from a debate over drainage issues in Cap de Ville, Cedras, with the PNM-led committee ultimately voting to have Tilak Singh removed from the chamber under the standing orders. Siparia Mayor Dudnat Meru told CNC3 News the chairman had the authority to remove Tilak Singh because the PNM now holds the majority of votes. Meru says the balance of power in the corporation shifted after Councillor Ramona Victor was killed last November, and UNC Alderman Victor Roberts crossed the floor to the PNM, giving them a 7-5 majority in the corporation. Public Health Committee Chairman Anton George says Tilak Singh's removal from the chamber was necessary because he failed to respect the authority of the chair.
We are about service to all. Again, I reiterate, he could have been suspended according to the standing orders for a maximum of 40 days. In the first instance, he could have been suspended for 21 days. And we did not do that. We just asked him to remove himself. I do not know why the member is continually saying that we suspended him. He was asked to be removed from the meeting. He called for a division was taken, and members voted for him to remove himself from the meeting and cool himself and come back. But he chose not to.
But Tilak Singh says he was simply representing his constituents and was being treated unfairly.
The Palaseco councillor became the chairman under questionable circumstances, again, which the council was hijacked in our statutory meeting when our sister had passed away and the seat of that seat became vacant. And hence the reason why these questions arise of his intention, right? I was suspended only at the public health meeting where he chaired. The only person who can suspend a member, right, via motion, it is the mayor.
ASHA is calling for an immediate ceasefire amid ongoing hostilities in the Middle East. It is very concerned by the escalating military action and retaliatory strikes across the region and cites reports of bombardment affecting civilian infrastructure. ASHA says the protection of civilian life must remain a priority under international law and Islamic teachings. The association says the military aggression cannot be justified and warns that continued retaliation risks drawing more countries into the conflict. ASHA is urging all parties to halt hostilities and return to diplomatic dialogue. It is also calling on the Muslim community to engage in prayer and unity during the crisis. And there's a major valuation problem plaguing customs and excise. This was revealed by Customs Comptroller Riyad Juman as he defended his office's conduct when valuing imported products. According to Shagona's East MP Vandana Mohit, there's been a years-long grievance from the business community, including businessmen in her constituency who claim that their invoices are being arbitrarily questioned and overvalued by customs staff. Mohit said businessmen are constantly left frustrated and feeling as though they are being unfairly treated by unprofessional officers. She also questioned if they are properly trained to interact with customers. However, defending the valuation officers during a joint select committee inquiry into the port of Port of Spain, Juman explained the issue is not poor customer service, but said it was a necessary response to valuation fraud. He revealed that internal investigations frequently uncover invoices that fall well below acceptable norms for identical or similar items. Well, those were your 7 a.m. news headlines. We'll have another news update at 8 on the TBC Radio Network.
Behavioral change consultant Johanse Iodike joins me for this, the second hour, to kick into our mental health matters. And today's topic, SOE, State of Emergency. Johanse, good morning and welcome.
Good morning, Jason. Morning to everybody viewing.
Well, it's been a state of emergency Thursday. Vasan Barrett would have given his perspective. We had Officer Russell just now giving the police, their position on it. What does a state of emergency mean to you? What's the greater definition as we start to unpack the layers, and more so how it treats with the mental state of us Trinbagonians?
All right, so, before, as always said, the premise of what human behavior is, thought into feeling into action. From the time we hear the word emergency, it does something to us. Right? No matter what kind of emergency, it does something to us. Now, putting it forward because each person to understand what it's doing to them and then how to treat with it. So when you hear emergency, now I'm not even going to speak for everybody, I'm letting the viewers decide and understand when they hear emergency, what it does to you, right?
But I wonder, the word emergency, if it's used over and over, which is what we're seeing from the current administration and even the last administration, who were the ones to really get that state of emergency ball rolling, right before the election, does it lose its potency? And that's the question I've been asking a lot of people for the entire week. Is it that it's, if you're saying fire in a cinema right through, if eventually somebody might be like, well, you just, really have no fire then, like, what's going on here?
Correct. No, you're absolutely correct, because if emergency means, for the most part, something out of the ordinary, right? But if we always in an emergency, then it becomes ordinary.
Oh, okay. So,
you understand? Because I've seen two polarized effects people respond to. Some people like, oh, okay, because we wasn't that before, I know what that means. It didn't have anything to do with me, right? Or it didn't affect me, and I keep it pushing. Then some people, now the people that react, not necessarily because it's an emergency versus what does it mean that we always in an emergency, if you understand where I'm coming from. And for some people, even though let's just say it may not affect them in any way, because we're in a state of emergency, because a state, if you look for a person, a state is, I'm happy as a state, I'm sad as a state. So now it affects your emotions in a certain way based on what you think about it. Right? So even though, let's just say, as Officer Russell said before, you're not involved in any type of crime. Because you hear this state of emergency, now I am put in a state of emergency. So even though how I go about my regular activities, I'll feel like a little more worried or a little more urgency because everybody, quote unquote, in a state of emergency?
Well, I guess the state of emergency didn't come out of the thin air. It's really a plan to treat with crime and escalating crime and what that would have done to our mental and our psyche for so many decades. So in a sense, it's almost like declaring where we would have been for quite a while, because in a way we've always been
in a state of
emergency. Kind of state of emergency, right?
Right.
Yeah. Because I mean there is an unease. I mean if you look around, the fact that people have all these sort of burglar proof and all kind of cameras everywhere and tall walls and barbed wire, it's really a plan, active plan to protect property, to protect self based on the circumstance.
Yes, and you see how you looked at it from that perspective. I remind the public, however you look at it is how you will feel, right? And you know there's a saying, knowledge is power. When I saw that the state of emergency was declared, I had an emotional reaction. Then I was like, do I really understand what the state of emergency is? Like, you know, what exactly the state of emergency is in Trinidad, what exactly does it entail? And I realized I didn't have a response to that. I don't know if I understood the full gravitas of it. So I started doing some reading and still doing some reading to understand. So, but when I asked other people, people gave answers, I realized that came from a place of ignorance. Ignorance means I know part of the answer, some of the answer. So I don't really understand and know what the state of emergency is. So I implore the people to just read up on it. I mean, it's not a hour read, right? Sit down and read and understand what exactly, when Trinidad declares state of emergency, understand what it is. And then when you have that knowledge, you have more power over managing how you feel and even how you navigate it.
Because state of emergencies, in essence, will really be declared based on, let's say, a natural disaster, keeping the order after some kind of weather event, and I guess in this case, you know, uptick in crime, if there's some kind of protest, if there's some kind of, you know, upheaval, just a moving away from the norm. When the place is in a kind of disarray, you want to bring back the place to some level of normalcy. And I guess the question is the crime scenario in such a place that we need to call for the state of emergency, and it seems that it's going to be the new normal.
Even what you said there, see how you said is to bring things back in order. When I ask some people don't know that, you know. Some people didn't look at it like that the state of emergency was called to bring things back in order. They understood the state of emergency called because everything out of order and we don't know what to do. That's how they interpret it, right? Now, I'm not telling people to change their opinion, but understand what your opinion of it does to you. Because for the thing is, for each one of us, whatever the government doing, the police doing, the Ministry of National Security doing, we also have a responsibility in how we navigate it, right? They have their portfolio, and yes, of course, we give some of the power to them. And also how we navigate it, because some people say, oh God, now I have to go home early every day. But it may not state that anyway. And I'm like, why? Because they're going to have roadblocks every day. But nobody necessarily said that. Yes, there's a possibility of more roadblocks. But if you understand how people now could come up with stories in their mind based on information that may be false. So that's why I'm saying first, read up and understand exactly what it is so that you could manage your state of emergency.
You know, I want to kind of just flip it a little bit and move away from the country, more to the personal lived reality. Is an intervention in someone's life your declaration of a state of emergency? If you're watching a family or a friend that going on a particular road and you really step in a forceful way and say, listen, me and the family here saying, you got to stop it. Is that calling a kind of personal state of emergency, you want to say?
Yes, I like that analogy because sometimes people call me sometimes to do interventions, right?
Because they would have declared a state of emergency with their family member.
Yeah, and sometimes I'm against it because when you exert force on someone, most times they push back. So it's the same way with the country, even though, let's just say, people may be aware of the crime situation, when you declare it, of course it's forced. Now I have certain restrictions or certain things taken away from me, so I will rebel in it. But if you understand why, so let me give you an example of an intervention. They brought the person to my office, a family, and they didn't know why they was coming, right? But when the intervention started and it was explained, I explained what it is, the family explained what it is, right? Now that they have understanding of it, even though in initial there was a little upset because it had some kind of deception in it, right? But once it was explained, it was understood. So I'm saying for the same way, knowledge is power. So even whether or not the government explained it well enough for you as an individual or people of the country, you sit down and read and understand. And then when you have the knowledge, then decide how you want to navigate it.
You feel, this is, when I go back to state of emergencies, the first one I could recall would have been during the coup, all right, 1990. Then, I don't know, I can't recall. They probably would have had in between. I know obviously during the current administration's first tenure between 2010 to 2015, there was a state of emergency that caused the incarceration of a lot of men from the marginal areas. All right, so I recall that. A lot of men actually won cases and took the government of the day, the state, to court. And then it just seems like, I don't know, again, I go back to the potency of it. I wonder if, when you heard a state of emergency long time, there was something you felt. Yeah. I think what people feel now is more frustration as opposed to that kind of, oh my goodness, yeah boy, it's serious, And then a lot of the state of emergencies back then too also came with curfews. So there's another layer where if there's a state of emergency and there's no curfew, no restriction really of your movement, is it truly a state of emergency? And I guess that's why some people are so nonchalant and do business, and then there are others who kind of concerned.
Again, and as we were saying before, you see the potency. I think that's the important part, because when you're implementing a strategy, right? If I implement a strategy before and I didn't have the desired effect, right? Or let's say it did, because I know during the SVE, this one, and the previous, there were arrests, and even say some of the previous ones. But if people, these citizens don't know about that, so in my mind, we call a state of emergency and nothing happened, quote unquote. And as I was saying, knowledge is power to understand.
Yeah, be final, say you want to say.
Nation, even though we're in a state of emergency, understand exactly what it means, read up, do your knowledge, because knowledge is power. Don't make life complicated, because even though life is not easy, it's really not that hard. Thank you for listening.
That's right. It's been a state of emergency discussion Thursday. Lots of different layers to this development. We take the pause, we come back. I believe we get a chance to link up with my friend from Brunswick. Roxanne should be in the building up next. Brunswick for Lent. Details up next.
Magical Expressions Limited is the largest local importer and distributor of fresh cut stems, offering the widest range of beautiful flowers at the most affordable prices. Call us today at 701-6488 or visit our website to order.
When it comes to cleaning your spaces spotless and professionally maintained, trust the team that leaves no corners unchecked. 360 Cleaning and Facility Maintenance offers complete janitorial and routine maintenance services, upholstery and deep cleaning, power washing, outdoor and exterior care, floor cleaning and maintenance, even grass cutting and asphalt recoating, from offices to commercial spaces and residential properties. They handle it all with precision and care. Call 491-5276 or email 360cleaning.sales@gmail.com. 360 Cleaning and Facility Maintenance. No corners left unchecked.
This is Mary. Mary has bills to pay and takes a chance parking in front of the building at the no parking sign. Mary returns to her car, and this is what happens. Mary decides to call when she's 5 minutes away to let her daughter know that she is close by. But Mary forgot one thing.
Boy, second ticket for the day. I don't know, nah? I really don't know. Well, I tell you.
After 2 tickets, Mary just isn't paying attention to her speed.
You see a fixed penalty notice, fixing speed like 15 kilometers. After 30 years to pay, 15 years to contest.
It has showed other people. Look at other people passing. All they ain't seen them. All they seen me, right? Eh? All they too wicked.
Don't be like Mary. Obey the laws of the road. A message from the TTPS. Some of us like to test limits, but there won't always be second chances. Obey the speed limits. Maybe you don't value your life, but others value theirs. A message from the TTPS.
The fact that they ask the questions, those challenging questions that no other media house would ask. To, shed light on those things that are in the dark, those stories that no one else wants to cover.
I grew up reading The Guardian, actually. It's a household name.
About The Guardian, one thing that I like, the human interest stories have increased.
See the investigative pieces on the human trafficking. I find that very interesting.
You go more in depth.
On sports, especially local sports, and that's one of my highlights for The Guardian.
Yeah, I read in Guardian since The Guardian started coming out, started working. I was a newspaper man.
Could the stories that are being covered are well detailed and you get more facts.
Also, I think the editorials, I think they're doing a good job and they're speaking the truth, and they're challenging the government to make things better. Me in particular, of recently, the last 2-3 months, I've been reading The Guardian. I'm seeing a lot of news about the neighborhoods and the communities, and I even saw my community featured, and I was proud.
But The Guardian.
The Guardian?
Guardian. Trinidad Guardian.
The Guardian.
The Guardian.
Trinidad Guardian. The Guardian is my first choice.
This season, Ask the Doctor is at a new time. It's your weekly prescription for trusted medical advice. In the Doctor's Capsule, Dr. Tilaksing breaks down big health topics clearly and simply. Get a dose of smiles in the Kiddies Capsule as our youngest experts share health tips with heart. Explore the science behind the headlines in Medical Minds, featuring real doctors, real insight, and your questions matter. Join the open forum live and get answers straight from the source. Ask the Doctor, every Thursday at 8 p.m. only on CNC3.
Struggling with blood sugar swings, high blood pressure, or stiff joints? Take control with Aja Nutrition's powerful wellness trio. Berberine Plus supports healthy blood sugar. Blood pressure support helps keep your pressure in check. And Joint Aid keeps your joints moving so you can stay active every day. Don't wait. Choose Aja Nutrition for trusted, effective solutions. Available at Pennywise and leading pharmacies nationwide. Feel better, move better, live better with Aja Nutrition.
Roxanne is here with me, and I'm so happy we're getting a chance to get into our conversation. Roxanne Joseph, the business unit head at Brunswick, and every Lent we always get into this very important conversation. And I must say, Roxanne, you made a major impact on me, because literally most evenings now, I wouldn't really do something heavy. After I watch my 7 p.m. news with Rian and the team, I actually do some crackers and Brunswick,
Yeah.
Real talk. I put some little mayo too to kind of give it a little mayo, and some I put a little pimento in it too, to be quite honest. Give it a little kusume.
Right.
But that's actually pretty much what you brought here is pretty much my dinner.
So it converted you from last time?
Oh, for sure.
Great.
For sure. And obviously I'm seeing it's readily available on the trade. I've seen, you know me well. You know which one I like.
Right. These are the flavored.
Oh,
so this is the spicy Thai.
Straight out the tin,
Straight out the can. So it's ready to eat. Mm-hmm. That also comes in other flavors, tomato, lemon, garlic, and we have the spicy Thai here, and tomato. So today we trying again our spicy Thai.
but with a different pairing today.
Could you tell me about the benefits of the offerings? Because obviously, yes, it tastes well, but are there actual benefits to the offerings?
Yeah, definitely, Jason. I mean, you know, during Lent, people abstain from meat, right? And this provides a perfect alternative for those who are abstaining. And this is rich in lean protein. So this contains around between, I think, 16 to 18 grams of protein, all in one can. And as you know, protein helps to keep us filled and energized during the day. So this gives you that protein option.
In terms of preparation, as I said, I kind of do my own thing. I put a little mayo sometimes.
Right.
I mean,
you have to, you know, Jason. This is a ready to eat.
Well, I know it's ready to eat, but sometimes you know just to spice it up. But literally,
Jason,
out
this
of the
don't
10.
need no spicing up. It is good just as is. This one is, you know what? Let us do a taste.
Crack open.
Crack open.
Well, I mean, I'm very familiar. Oh, goodness.
And we are pairing it this morning with this Breton cracker. So this is the simple goodness, yes.
You all sell this?
Yes, we do. Yeah, we do.
You got this on the trade?
Yeah.
Serious? Readily available in the supermarkets?
Readily available in the supermarket.
Let's take a note of this. Breton?
Breton simple goodness, yeah. It's the newest addition to the Breton range, yeah. Simple goodness cracker. You have to turn it around because it's the... Yeah.
Oh, yes. Simple goodness, yes.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Right.
And it's a perfect pairing with the Brunswick tuna.
Oh, look at that. Well,
so let's try that this morning.
Well, I never had the Breton before. Let me.
You never had the Breton before?
I swear to you.
But you had the Brunswick before. Well,
yeah.
Good. But pair it together. So just don't have the Breton alone. Pair it together. Put it together.
So you're saying basically out of the 10, but if somebody, so basically, I mean, I sometimes try to spruce it up, but have you heard of anybody that's trying to spruce it up, or they just really
Yes. I have heard persons say that they added mayo to it, but to me, I think it is perfect straight from the can.
It's nice with the Breton, no?
It's nice. There's a rich, tasty flavor to it. And it's very Moorish.
Which one, based on your empirical, seems to be, because I know all sell well, but which one seems to be the top seller?
So in the 85-gram size, this is our top seller, our top flavor. We also have, again, tomato, which is a top flavor, our lemon and the garlic, all come in ready-to-eat options.
Oh, gosh.
Try it, Jason.
Roxanne, you could come here every morning.
You had breakfast this morning?
Well, I'm having it now. I'm having it now. I'm not going to tell you, Roxanne, you should come here. You should come here every day. Look, so nice.
And these sell for roughly $12 a can, $12 a can at supermarkets nationwide. You could find it at your nearest corner store, you know. It's readily available.
Readily available.
Yeah, Jason. And it's a perfect pairing, you know. It goes hand in hand. And the Breton is a really good cracker. It's a bite size.
Really nice.
Really nice. And you get your protein there.
As it says, crunchy, light, and perfect salty snack.
Correct.
That's right.
Correct.
What I like about this is not too spicy. It's the right amount of spice.
The right amount of spice, and that's what you want, I guess, for mornings, you know, for breakfast, the right amount of spice for your life.
Fantastic. Well, I recognize that you all, one side is in English and the other side is in Espanol.
Espanol, correct.
Yeah, so even our friends who, you know, from far removed, they too could they could read it up. So this is sea salt and olive oil. Are there other textures to the cracker, or is it just this particular one here?
So we have this, and we have other flavors. So we have our Breton original cracker, and we have the cheddar in the cracker as well. Again, the Breton range of crackers is very versatile, and again, it comes in many different flavors.
Outside of the crackers, let's say you want to pair the Brunswick with something else. Well, obviously bread. What else is a suggestion there?
Pasta.
Okay.
Pasta. Jason, as you know, tuna is that ingredient that you can add on any dish. You can add pasta, you can add salad, you can do potatoes, you name it. It is that go-to ingredient that you can add to anything. Jason, you don't have to steal it. I could give you. I will leave this with you. I will leave this with you.
I know you always come bringing gifts.
We always come bringing gifts. I never come empty-handed.
Yeah. I just wanted to make sure and put it aside so they could get a full shot here of what's happening. And as we said, and we continue to say, readily available on the trade. When we say the trade, we're talking here the shelves.
Shelves at the supermarkets, mini-marts, shops, parlors, you name it. It's readily distributed.
Fantastic.
Yeah, and apart from the flavored tuna, so for those who don't want the flavored and want the plain tuna, we have our plain flake and chunk, which you can buy again at the supermarkets, and you could add whatever it is that you desire. So whether or not you want to add more veggies to it, or more mayo or mustard or whatever you want to add to that base plain, you can do that.
Roxanne?
What about it do you like, Jason?
Just the texture, the moist.
The moist.
It's moist. Just
what sort of flavors are you tasting?
Can you spice?
You spice, right.
There's a kind of savory, there's a salt and sweet at the same time.
Right.
Happening. You
right.
know, I want to say a sincere thanks. So great to see you again. I mean,
great.
I wish you could come every morning.
to provide breakfast.
To be quite honest, yes.
Jason.
Right, every morning, Roxanne. Let's be my co-host. Come in. Right? Roxanne,
I'll definitely talk to the team about being your co-host.
That's right. Roxanne, the Brunswick team, great to see you again.
Great to see you again, Jason. And make Brunswick your option for Lent. Yeah.
And I see beyond. For Lent and beyond.
Great.
Up next, Ian is going to step in. Ian, don't worry. I'll leave some crackers for you, and I'll leave a 110. Don't worry yourself, Ian. You're good to go. The morning shot, that in-depth look at sport, up next. Ian takes you till 8 o'clock.
This March the 11th and the 12th, the Trinidad and Tobago Chamber of Industry and Commerce presents Catalyst SME Conference 2026, where potential becomes performance for SMEs. Over 2 days, gain practical tools to access finance, conduct market research, and position your business for real growth. And on Saturday the 14th, meet real buyers through curated B2B meetings and dynamic pop-up shops, designed to turn strategy into opportunity. 3 days, real strategy, real connections, real opportunity. Register now. Recession have you down? Don't lose hope. Head on down to Tire Clinic for the recession deals. That should big savings with our road hazard warranty on Dunlop, Sumitomo, and Falcon tires. Available at Tire Clinic, Cuba, Chaguanas, and Pleasance Park. Tire Clinic, a tire for every need. Call 636-8973 or 636-2958.
Things don't always go as expected. Be ready with Trinry for auto, home, business and group life. Call us at 800-TRIN or visit trinry.com today. Huge insurance premium. Pay your premiums bit by bit with FlexiPay from Trinry. For more manageable auto, home and commercial insurance payments, call us at 800-TRIN or visit trinry.com today. Trinry. Premier insurance coverage for less.
This is more than just music. This is where you find the best of TNT. This is more than just a vibe. This is where Bollywood gets a twist. This is more than just energy. This is Bhangra and indie pop too. This is the mix. This is the life. Lock on or log on now. Sangeet 106.1 FM. This is authentic East Indian radio. This is us.
I'm being sued for negligence.
Maggie needs her father.